Page 28, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear. Very beautiful piece of music. I go through my routine. I look it over, I see it's 2 pages long, but it has repeat signs and endings, so it's really longer than that. But the point is, there's only 2 pages of music I have to learn, and that's what I'm looking at. Treble and bass clef, 1 sharp in the key signature. We're either in G major or E minor. Those are the keys with 1 sharp in the key signature. If I look at the end, the bottom of page 29, it's here. That is a G major chord. I'm guessing I'm in G major here. That's kind of nice because a lot of arrangements of this song are actually in B flat major or something with flats in it. And this is kind of nice having an arrangement with a sharp in the key signature instead. 6/8 time signature, which explains why there's 8th notes running around all over everywhere, because each 8th note gets a count. That's fine. Just remember that a dotted quarter note is the same as 3 8th notes. Doesn't matter what the time signature is, it's always that way. So if you know how much an 8th note gets, you can do the calculations yourself. Use a calculator if you need it. I don't care. It's just, you'll figure it out. I want to do this 1 hand at a time, make sure I got the fingering and everything working okay, because I want to try and finger this connected if I can. It's just the style of fingering that I use and teach. So right hand, well, you have here for beats 4, 5, and 6, and then do it again, and then measure 3. 1, 2, and then with 3rd finger, that's fine. 3rd finger again. This lets me connect this melody. And then they want here. That's okay if you can fit up here, because they want to connect the melody, and there's 2 G's, and I can change hand positions on the G's. If you can, I recommend that's good fingering. Otherwise, you're stuck with this fingering, and that's a little awkward because you can't really connect the notes very well that way. So if you can, I'll measure 5, do the fingering in the book. Just, you're only there for a little bit. Here, you come back out. Let's go over to measure 9. You're here. And then going on, here, it's a B, a D sharp, and an F sharp for the dotted half note. And that's going to get 6 counts. So you're going to hold that down, because now the rest of the measure, the melody's in the other hand. So this is melody, but then the melody goes on in the left hand, and now this is harmony. Isn't that weird how that works? And then measure 12, you just come up to a B, E, G. That's fine. And then measure 13 is, and then you're back to what you were doing at the beginning. Okay, left hand, let's see what it's up to. It's got broken chords at the beginning, that's fine. And then measure 3. I'm going to use if you'll notice in measures 3 and 4, the pattern is from here to here. The thumb doesn't need to do all that. And I typically, in this kind of a pattern, I'll use a 5-2 for the lower one, and a 1 here, here, here. Now for this measure 4, the second one I can do here, because I need 2nd finger for measure 5. But then measure 7 again, I'm going to use 2 again. Kind of using 1 or 2 on this depending on what's coming next. Now measure 11, I've had plenty of rest here to come up. Crossover, so you can do the scales, this is easy. To rest. Here. Now actually on measure 14, this broken chord, I use 4 on the F sharp, and that's what I teach in my arpeggio. Really, this is a 7th chord. The chord would be here. And I use 4 on that. Some people teach 3, but I don't. I prefer 4 on that. And the reason for that is that anytime there's only 1 note in the scale between the notes, there's 1 note here. Here, you say, wait, well, yeah, in this scale, it's here. This note is not in the scale. It doesn't count. So there's only 1 note in the scale. And anytime that's the case, if 5 fingers involved, I use 4 for the other one. So it's C major, it's easier to see. But when you start getting in the black keys, you got to remember the scale. And in what we're here, that F is not in the scale. That's why I'm using 4 there. Here. It's a stretch, but it's a good stretch. You got to learn to do that. Got to get the fingers apart here. Put the hands together. Here. Now, when I first do this, I'm going to hesitate. I don't care what's here. Then here. Then here. 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 See, I'm going to hesitate all over. I don't care. I'm just trying to figure out which fingers are working together. Let's go over to measure, what, 11? When you're here, hold that down. Connect that. This is neat, and then go on. Something like that. You put the hands together, and then go back through it a few hundred times or whatever, and get rid of the hesitation, so it's a steady 8th note pulse throughout. And once we can do that, then I add the articulation, which here it's pretty connected. You lift up for the phrases. Lift up. Lift up. Just a little lift. It's like taking a breath. You're just cutting one note a little bit short so you can lift up like taking a breath. And the left hand, I'd connect it all if I can. I can't, but otherwise I'm pretending I can. Now, like in the first line, I connect that. You see that curved line? That slow line, connect them. And you can lift up between. Lift up. Lift up here. I'm holding that down. Anyway, then I go through and do the articulation. And once I have that sort of under control, then I add the dynamics. MP at the beginning is mezzo piano, which is sort of soft. It's going to be for both hands. This first part here is an introduction. There's no melody. We're just setting the harmony for the piece, sort of the tempo, the speed, and so forth. And then MF at the end of the line is mezzo forte, and that's the melody. This other stuff needs to be soft. I don't know how much control you have over your hands and fingers, but if you can, even when you have more than one note in a hand, can you bring out one note? Measure 3. Here. Here. I got 2 notes here. I want this to be soft. I want that to be the melody. I'm putting more weight on that finger is all I'm doing. Because you should be able to control this where you can put weight on any finger at any time and bring out that note, even though you're playing other notes. And that takes time, but it's something to work on. This way I can hear the melody each time, and this is just soft. Oh, it's the melody I'm after. This other note should sound like the left hand playing, whatever they're doing. Like it's an extension of the left hand. Something like that. Should sound like that. Anyway, on the dynamics, you can read it. You get loud over the pickup to measure 11. Here, and then this is melody, it's loud. Now measure 12, this is soft, it's not. This is loud. That's soft. This is soft. This is loud. I got that backwards. Here. And this part, that's soft. This. Here. And then moderately soft. Yeah. Now, the ending, the last 3 measures, your sword is moderately soft here. Here, soft. Now come down a little bit. really soft. Both hands here too. And there's your ritardato if you want to slow down. Here. The fermata, you just hang on to that and let it fade out. Now when you're tired of hearing it, lift up. Sort of. I'll come back to the fermata in a little bit later. Speed, moving gently. Well, that helps. How fast are you going to sing it on something like this? It flows. Don't drag it. It doesn't work on piano. I mean, you can sing it and get away with that sort of thing, but on piano it's too percussive. We need to move a little bit. Now they've added pedal, and of course we need pedal in this. This helps us with the overtones. Again, people have time to hear all the notes because this is slow enough they can hear everything. But we don't want it to get mushy, and that's going to be a problem because we got a lot of moving eighth notes in the right hand, and they're showing pedaling through them. Is that really the sound we're after? Well, we have to adjust. Remember, the pedaling in the book shown, they're only suggestions. And what I tell you is just a suggestion. Ultimately, it's up to you and what you like to hear on how you're going to pedal it. But you have to listen very carefully to it. It's going to be overlapping pedaling because I want sound pretty much all the time. But if I want to hear the phrasing, I lift up the pedal with the right hand so I can hear the phrasing. So at the beginning, notes first and then pedal. Softly. Then I'm going to lift up the pedal so I can hear, because I'm starting the piece. Now if you don't like that effect, then pedal through it. If you want the sound constantly coming, it's a personal thing. You decide. See, it's like, well, it goes by fast enough. It's not too bad. So measure 3. But again, if I want to hear the phrasing, I got to lift the pedal up with the hand. I keep the left hand down. If I don't care to hear the phrasing, I just pedal it like shown. And don't pedal measure 6. Lift up. Now measure 10. I would lift the pedal up here. I want to hear that. And by the way, in that chord, the bottom note of the chord is melody. That's what you put the weight on to bring out. That's what we want to hear. And then after I do that, after I play the second beat, I let the pedal up. And normally you wouldn't pedal those, but I want to connect the repeated notes and I need the pedal for that. So I'm here, pedal, I lift up, and I'm not pedaling this, it would smear it. Here, and then you pedal that if you want. You could almost get away with not pedaling measure 14 and just finger pedaling it. Finger pedaling is when you're holding the notes down longer than their values, so you can get them to ring longer. It's sort of, you're holding the notes out like the pedal would do, except you're doing it with the fingers. That's finger pedaling. I do a lot of finger pedaling. The difference is, if I finger pedal it, I'm only getting the overtones of the notes I'm pushing down. If I pedal it, I'm getting overtones of everything. Pretty much that's in harmony with this. I'm getting a lot more overtones, and I want it to come down here, so I want to cut out those other overtones, so I finger pedal it instead and then go up. And I don't pedal the pickup note, I don't need it. And so forth, well, something like that. Now at the end, the last 3 measures here, they're showing pedaling all the way through here, and then here. I got problems with that. I'm dying away. I'd like to lose some of these overtones. So I might change the pedal on the last measure, just to clear it out a bit. Change the pedal. cleans it out a little bit. And then at the end, if you would like, you do a fade out pedal, sort of. I don't know what it's called, that's what I call it. You let the hands, you let the finger, let the notes up, let something up here, and then slowly lift the pedal up, slowly. And that lets the dampers slowly touch the strings, and the sound slowly dies away. That's an acoustic piano. If you have an electronic piano, you have to test it. Some do and some don't. But if you have an electronic piano, you can always reach up and just gradually turn the volume down. It has the same effect. The point is, we want it to fade out. We don't want all of a sudden nothing, because that's like an accent. It's like, whoa, what happened? No, you want the sound to fade out. So you use the pedal on that, lift it up, and then slowly lift the pedal up, and the sound just slowly dies away. If you get buzzing, then you need to have your piano tuner technician person check your dampers. You should not get buzzing, and don't let anybody tell you you can. You should not get buzzing on the dampers when they do that. You really shouldn't. As far as the roadmap goes, we have endings at the bottom of page 29 because we got multiple verses here. There's 2 endings there. There's actually 3 endings, but they've combined endings 1 and 2 together. See, they can do that. And as you can see here, endings don't have to be the same length. They can be any length. The point is, endings 1 and 2 are on measure 18. So you play those, repeat back to measure 3 to the reverse repeat sign. And on the 3rd time you're through, then you skip those endings on measure 18 and go directly to the 3rd measure over there, like so. That's for singing purposes. Yeah. If you don't want to repeat anything, you skip measure 18, don't play it at all, and just go directly to the 3rd ending. I don't want to do all 3 verses. I could do a couple just to show you. Now I tend to adjust the pedal a little bit just out of habit. On some of these it's like on measure 8/5 here. I tend to release the pedal on the last beat because I can connect it with the fingers and I want to clear out some of the sound, so it's here. So I end up with that. It's just a habit I do. A lot of times when I have moving notes like this and I'm pedaling it, when I get toward the end of the moving notes, I'll lift the pedal up to clear out the overtones. If I can connect it with the fingers. Now if I can't, if I'm doing stuff, then I have to leave the pedal down if I can't connect it. I tend to do this in this piece also. It's just out of habit. You have to listen to the sound and the effect the pedal is having and get into the music, start feeling the music. Remember the natural accents? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 1, 2. Just a nice slow, feel those as you're going through this too.